All right, my brothers and sisters, Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation. President Donald Trump can huff, Elon Musk can puff, but they cannot blow our house down. This, my brothers and sisters, is a nation of laws, and this administration has done something remarkable already. It has reminded so many that we need our system of laws, of the people, by the people, and for the people. Not just one or two people doing it to everybody else. Power is checked. Power is balanced by design and for good reason, to avoid overreach and reckless acts. Lord knows we need change in this country on so many different levels, but positive change. Breaking and making better are rarely the same thing. For example, finding waste is a plus. It's a must. It always has been. And if Trump finds more with DOGE, great. Efficiency emails, good idea. Good idea. Accountability is key. But you do know that the idea that government has exploded in recent years is poppycock, right? You do know the size of the federal government hasn't changed in decades, right? You do know there are less people in the federal government as employees today than 30 years ago, right? Because I know Trump and Musk make it sound like it's gotten so much bigger, but that's not a fact. And now you have to ask yourself, why do they want you to believe that? To make it easier to make progress? Okay, I could probably live with that politically. But what if it's about something darker? What if it's about wanting you to hate your government? And not to want to make it better, but to break it. What is unique about the DOGE effort so far is not its goal, but its unrelenting attacks of every agency, every deal, every contract, everything's bad. Musk pretending he has the power to fire and set standards for federal employees. I told you that was BS. I told you he was talking out his Elon pretend powers. But guess who else has said it now? The cabinet secretaries and even the president of these United States. Trump held a cabinet meeting today, and while he did bluster about what would happen if the cabinet secretaries didn't find efficiencies within their agencies, like it was an episode of his old TV show, he did give a clear message that the cabinet secretaries are the ones whom he has empowered to do the job of finding who to keep and who to lose within their agencies, not Elon. He can only recommend. That's what the president said out loud. The same thing I've told you repeatedly here, because that is the law. Musk can only make recommendations. And ultimately, the decision to fire employees is up to the people running the agencies. Listen to the president.
I want the cabinet members to keep good people. I don't want to see a big cut where a lot of good people are cut. I had a meeting and I said, I want the cabinet members go first, keep all the people you want, everybody that you need. I want them to do the best job they can. When we have good people, that's precious.
Now, has he said that all along? No. Is that frustrating politically, especially for Democrats? Yes. Does it matter to me? No, because for the 50th time, what this president says is not policy. I know we usually reckon it that way. Not with him. You've got to wait. You've got to watch. Same thing with the tariffs. Same things with all this huff and puff about what he's going to do to Ukrainians. It's all talk until it isn't. But you got to wait for that. Now, Musk, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure why he is so adamant about blowing up government. I am sure he does not understand our government. He has made more incorrect assertions about the operations of federal government than I've ever heard by anyone, including Trump. He clearly hates the idea of federal government, but he cannot destroy what the founders built. Maybe he should stop trying to blow up what works and figure out why his rocket didn't work and blew up. Maybe that's where he should focus. The president was also reminded today that he, too, has limitations, rightfully, even as the head of the executive. Of course, the president has the ability to control staffing of executive agencies, and you may not like, and the employees may not like, and people at the agencies may not like decisions he makes about employees and who to lose and who to move. It's his call. Elections have consequences, and he can delegate that, as he did to the cabinet secretaries, and he could even, yes, delegate that to Musk, but he hasn't. However, Trump does not have plenary authority. He is not a king. He's checked by the two other branches. Congress passes the spending budget, and the president executes it. He can veto, they can override, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.